Hey guys, this is the Sports Hub. I'm Connor O'Gara. It's a boys state edition of Sports Hub today. We have 4 teams left in the Hub territory. We got Southern Valley in C2, in Class D1 we got Amherst, and then D2 we have Wilcox-Hildreth and Bertrand. 4 teams bidding for a state championship. We're going to start off in C2 with Southern Valley, a team that we talk about at this time of the year every single year, it seems like. Southern Valley, 3rd straight state appearance, and it gets a tough first round matchup, a rematch of last year's quarterfinal matchup. It'll take on Archbishop Bergen in the first round, defending state champions, and you got to face 6'8" Adam Dickman again. Very, very tough matchup. Of course, the wing, capable of doing so many different things, and it's going to be a great test for John Miller's group. But John Miller has coached at state 3 straight years now and knows and understands what it takes to win down in Lincoln, and that's being as efficient as possible on defense. I think Southern Valley maybe had to take a little bit of a step back after losing in a district final game, a game in which they only scored 29 points against Bridgeport. Eagles had won 17 in a row before that, but get a little bit of a chance to regroup going into state. I think that's very important for this team, a veteran group that's going to look to make one more push to Lincoln with this core group of seniors. In Class D1, maybe our most intriguing matchup of the first round games at state. Amherst gets the 6th seed, going to take on number 3 seed High Plains Community. This is an Amherst team that I've talked about all year, their ability to score at will at times and hit that 70-point mark on a given night. And High Plains does exactly the same thing. Amherst comes in averaging 65 points a game, High Plains at 64. This game is sure to see some fireworks. This is going to be one of those fast-paced, up-tempo games, I think. I think for both teams to be successful, they both need to be playing at that speed. Bill Giffen hates timeouts, does not like calling them. Actually didn't call a timeout in that district final game against Kennesaw until a minute left in the 4th quarter. I would expect more of the same, especially if the Broncos get some offensive momentum going early on. I think this is a matchup that maybe favors Amherst a little bit in a sense that when teams play to their style, they often win playing that style. And it's only when teams truly try and slow them down, make them play a full half-court game, that teams are able to have a little bit more success. So I think Amherst is in good shape maybe to get a first-round win and could be a dangerous team. You know, this is a team that, you know, I've talked about their upside a lot, maybe can make an Overton-like run, like what the Eagles did last year, of course, coming into state with a ton of momentum and making a run to that state championship game on Saturday. I think this is an Amherst team that is really intriguing and riding high. Playing in its first state game since 1987, Broncos are going to be having a ton of support down in Lincoln and a really interesting team to watch this weekend. A couple weeks ago, I said, who was that team outside of the top 10 that was going to make one of those runs to get a district title and get into that field in Lincoln? Well, Bertrand is that team. Vikings get the 8th seed, going to face number 1 Bancroft Rosalie. A very tough matchup in Class D2 for the Vikings, obviously in that opening round. Playing in their first state game since 1996. This is a Vikings team that has a little bit of offensive momentum going right now. You know, Jake Samuelson, I say a lot about him every time out. Vikings have a chance to win when he steps on the floor and gets rolling. But I think in this one, you're going to need other scorers to step up. You need Fitzgerald to be a good secondary contributor. You need Colfax to be that key contributor on the inside. And Younger's got to have a big game. Bertrand is going to have to play the game of its season, obviously, to be able to stun the defending champs and number 1 overall seed in this Class D2 field. But, you know, who knows? Maybe after last week, look at what the North Fork girls did. Number 8 seed, and they're able to stun Omaha Benson and end that 45-game winning streak, make a run to the state championship game. The North Fork girls, in a way, are kind of the inspiration to all number 8 seeds going into a state field right now. I'm sure there's a whole lot of pep talks going around across the state to all of those 8 seeds that are coming into this tournament with that type of underdog role. Bertrand, no different. We just talked about the number 1 seed in Class D2. How about the number 2 seed, Wilcox-Hildreth, going to face ExeterMilligan in that first round matchup. This is a Wilcox-Hildreth team that comes in actually having lost in its district final, lost a tough game to Riverside, but was playing without Tristan Farley. That team is kind of a unit that needs all pieces to be able to be efficient as they are defensively. And I think without Farley, maybe that team struggled a little bit on the inside more than they were used to, guys stepping up and having to play roles that they weren't necessarily used to playing during the season. So I almost look at that as a bit of a wash, playing against a really good Riverside team. And I think Wilcox-Hildreth is one of those teams that can make a run in Lincoln. This is a team that frustrates so many teams, allowing 38.5 points a game. Just ask Amherst about how frustrating it is to play Wilcox-Hildreth. Of course, the Falcons beat the Broncos twice during the season. And what could prove to play into Wilcox-Hildreth's favor, I think, is the fact that they are so good in those late game scenarios, in those pressure scenarios, which there are sure to be a few of this weekend. They just get it. They don't turn the ball over. They understand what it takes to get a defensive stop. They knock down their free throws. They have really good coaching, obviously, in Brent Heinrichs. This is just a team that understands what it takes to win games. There's a reason they only lost 2 games during the season. This is a team that comes into state with a whole lot of momentum. The first year that co-op has made a trip to state. And I think Wilcox-Hildreth could definitely be one of those teams that is still playing on the final day. Big thing for them could end up being, that experience that they got at that FKC tournament. You win against really good quality D1 teams, and you do it at a venue like the Bureau Event Center, and suddenly maybe that Lincoln venue doesn't intimidate Wilcox-Hildreth the way that it would other Class D2 teams that get that experience down in Lincoln. So Falcons, of course, a lot of momentum coming into this weekend. Very excited to see what they end up doing. We, of course, are going to be in Lincoln providing all of that action for you guys. Make sure you're following all of us on Twitter. Make sure you're checking out all of our stories on kearneyhub.com/sports. We're going to have all of the updates from the action on Thursday, Friday, and hopefully Saturday if some of our area teams are able to make it to a state championship game. My favorite time of the year. I know Hub Territory athletes love this time of the year, a time when you really should be enjoying that state experience as much as possible. These are the types of games that you tell your kids about someday, and to be able to play in Pinnacle Bank Arena, just such a cool experience for all of these kids. So we're looking forward to it. Very excited to be providing that coverage. So for Conor O'Gara, this has been Sports Hub. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.